Bill is still not available. Liel is not available. He's worked. They're all working really well actually. Brandon Cambridge and Ben Bender have trained fully with us, but obviously they need minutes until they're back. And Enzo won't be available this weekend as well.
In terms of Patrick's development, what can you speak of to him being ready to potentially take on a bigger role?
It's only potentially taking on a bigger role at the moment, but you know, I think I've told you what I feel of Patrick. I think there's a lot of growth, a lot of potential in him. You know, and we're looking forward to. I've enjoyed working with him already, and he's very coachable and he wants to get better, which is always, you know, two big advantages when you're a coach.
In terms of the way Brecht played last week, I know Brecht was somebody who can maybe fit in a couple of different areas. What did you think about him at the right wing last week?
I thought he'd done well last week. You know, we were with Leal missing. There was, you know, and Kerwin missing. You know, last week we had to fill players in certain areas who hadn't probably played there for a while, and I thought they came in and done a terrific job for us. I thought we were very good last week. I thought they played well, Brecht included. I thought Yuri came in and done really well on the side as well. So I was really pleased with what the players shown us last week.
Okay.
What's going on with Enzo?
So, I mean, as the head coach, you're not always involved in the front office, and a club has got an interest in Enzo. So he's had an excused absence from training today, and we'll see where that goes. But as of yet, I can't say any more really.
This interest, was it something that the club sought out or Enzo sought out?
Again, I don't know. In all honesty, I think it's always three ways, you know, and I've always said that, you know, if anybody moves anywhere, you have to have a club that wants somebody, you have to have a club who's willing to sell at the right price, and you have to have a player who's willing to go. So them three things all have to align for the move to happen.
You said after the game, I mean, it's pretty obvious he was upset he was out of the lineup on Saturday. Did that have any bearing on today's availability for him? And
none at all. I also spoke after the game how pleased I was with him scoring the goal and getting the goal. You know, he needed that. You know, but this has been unforeseen and it's happened this weekend, and we just feel that it's probably right for him not to be involved this weekend.
And I know we kind of, a lot of people go back to what you said in the preseason when you said, these aren't my DPs. And I think you meant it in terms of they need to show you you're a new coach, you know. But now you're down Karol Swiderski, no more Józwiak, now Copetti. I mean, is this a rebuild under your watch now? Does it feel that way?
Well, people will be labelling me the Edward Scissorhands of DPs, won't they? But, no, not at all. I mean, as I say, nothing's happened with Enzo at the moment. You know, a club has shown an interest, and you know, we're all pursuing the different options available to all of us. You know, but I just felt that we needed to go in another direction, and there's always different stories for each player. You know. Karol, for instance, wanted to go to Europe and play in Europe, and I wasn't going to stand in his way and want somebody here who, you know, wanted to play elsewhere, and that was the decision. So there's always different reasons for, you know, whether that be a DP or whether that be another player. It just so happens that, you know, a couple of DPs went out at the start, but I think any new coach coming in is going to have different ideas of players, and you're always going to be looking to bring, you know, improvements in.
For the short term, you have Patrick at striker. Do you have Tavares who can play there? You know, who else?
I have Tavares who can play there. I have Vargas who can play there. I have Tiger Smalls who can play there. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, they questioned you about Enzo Copetti, and you were pretty firm saying this is a player that we're going to count on this season, right? When an outside club's interest comes here, what is your makeup of why you're allowing kind of this negotiation to happen when the message from the get-go was he's our player for this season?
I have no control over negotiations. You know, I can only control what I work with day in, day out. I've been working with Enzo Copetti since the start of pre-season, you know, and I like him as a lad. He's emotional, yeah, quite a lot of players are emotional. You know, have I been getting the best out of him? Questionable, because he's only scored 1 goal, you know, after, was it the 11th game? In the 11th game, and you know, his output for us is, he would be the first to say, needs to be better than that. You know, but we've all been working for the same goal, to try and make him a better player and a better finisher. Sometimes it just doesn't work. I'm not saying, you know, that's the end of it, because we don't know yet, but you know, 1 goal in 10 probably hasn't been enough for us at the moment.
Gotcha. I know you don't control kind of those decisions, but from a perspective of having a full squad, I mean, you're going to be down a DP striker. So from your perspective, are you not going to push for him to stay, or you're kind of allowing him to make that decision and allowing the club to say, let's let him go?
My perspective would be, if a club meets our club's valuation, then it will be down to the player. You know, if the player chooses to go, does it leave us in a more vulnerable position? Possibly. But I believe in the ability of the squad that we've got and the coaching staff that we've got, that we can fill holes where we needed to. You know, for instance, Leal was out last week as, you know, a young DP who we've signed a few weeks ago, and we filled that hole pretty much last week. And you know, that's what you have to do, and utilise your squad to the best you can.
Awesome, thank you.
Cheers.
Cool. Anyone else?
In terms of some of the other parts of your midfield, I know Nico got himself a goal this week. Do you feel compelled to push him even further than, you know, I know he played 60 the week before, 71 this week. Do you feel compelled to push him to a full 90, or is that not going to always be a 90-minute position for you, just based on a match?
Not compelled. I'll be judged by what I see with my eyes and what I see from the numbers from the physical team. You know, if his physical load's dropping during a game, and my eyes are telling me that I feel he's dropping as well, then you know, I'll make a sub. And we're blessed at the moment, I think, in that position, because you know, in midfield I've got Ashley Westwood, Gibro Diani, Junior Urso, Nico Petkovic, Bram Bronica. So we've got a really strong position there, and we're going to need that, as I've said before, because we're now going Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. So you know, the game's going to come thick and fast, and we're going to have to utilise that squad.
How is Nashville different than maybe when you saw them first time?
They're playing a different system to start with. From what I've seen the last few games, they've played a 5-3-2. You know, when we played them early in the season, they played a 4. You know, so. And they're probably in a better position where they're not playing in the Champions League at the moment as well, and having a game every 3 or 4 days. So it's going to be another challenge for us, but one we're looking forward to.
Anyone else in the room? Luke, go ahead, and then Enrico.
With the re-signing of Kerwin Vargas today, what does that mean for you going forward? The future of the team, the direction of the team?
Kerwin's done really well. He's just started scoring goals. Unfortunately, you know, he got 5 cautions last week, so we missed him. But I'm really glad that, and he was one that, you know, I pushed and spoke to Zoran and Bobby about to extend his contract. I think he's a young player who can improve and get better, and become one of the stalwarts in this club. We want to be a club that's consistently challenging, you know, in the top 4 of the Eastern Conference and pushing for the MLS trophy. And you can only do that by having some consistency in there. And at Kerwin's age, he can be that. He can be one of them players, you know, along with the likes of Adil Milanda and players like that.
Do you see Petkovic as being the number 10 in the short-term future here for the team?
I think he's done himself no harm by going in and playing there and putting in the sort of performances he did against Columbus and on Saturday as well. So, you know, he set the goal up as well at New York the week before. I think he must have had 5 or 6 shots, I think, last week. He looked a constant threat, and he's somebody who I like there. He plays with a youthful freedom at times as well, which I like.
You had great feedback on your shoe game, your sneaker game last week. Any other fashion choices that we can look forward to for the Nashville game?
No, that was one of my son's fashion tips for me. But as I said in the dressing room after the game, it's a good job I'm not superstitious.
Or did you auction them off or something? Or?
No, I've still got them. They will come out again, but I'm not sure.
You do
when.
or don't they?
I'm sure they will,
Okay.
but we'll wait.
Jorge, you got more?
Just more on like Vargas' extension. What are maybe some of the things that you've seen in the player, and some of the things that maybe you want to improve because he's still a young player?
Yeah, he's really young. We've seen a couple of sides to him already. The first game against New York, he missed a penalty. He was very emotional after missing the penalty. He had a couple of one-on-ones with the goalkeeper as well that he didn't quite take. So he was a bit up and down at the start, and now he's started to find some real consistency in his game, understanding of what I want from him in the team as well. And I think you saw his goal. He took his 2 goals really well. And I think he can add more to his game and get more goals. Cheers.
Cool. Anything else in the room? Kev, go ahead.
Hey, it had been 5 games since you guys first had your clean sheet in a while, and so I wanted to know how important it was to get that clean sheet this past weekend, and how you guys can continue to build on that and making the Bank of America a fortress.
Yeah, we started off with a clean sheet, and we haven't had one now since Columbus, so it was pleasing to get one. The players know how hard we have to work to keep clean sheets. I think a few of the goals that were given away have been a bit unfortunate. We've had a couple of set pieces. But last week I thought we restricted Portland to very few chances, and got back to what we were about. And I felt going into, I think I said after the Minnesota game, I felt our counter pressing wasn't as good as it had been early in the season. I think New York was an improvement, and I thought Portland was really good.
Yeah, and I want to ask you a bit about sort of the geographical rivalry between Charlotte and Nashville. Nashville likes to claim their stadium as a castle, and Charlotte sees a fortress. How does that play a factor in this game? Do the players feel like there's some sort of rivalry within that Eastern Conference rival, or are you aware of any of that kind of stuff?
Not really, no. I haven't seen any moats around either ground, so.
Have you heard of the Sweet Tea Cup, by any chance?
I haven't, no. No, sorry.
It's between Atlanta, Nashville, and Charlotte, and some fans are trying to say and claim that it's sort of like a supporters-driven trophy.
Okay.
And they call it the Sweet Tea Cup. Some people do. But I just want to know if you had anything about that.
Well, if we finish above them 2, we should get that trophy, shouldn't we?
Just one more question from me. We've seen sort of Andrew Privet and Adilson Milanda kind of blossom into this pretty fruitful partnership in center back. Can you speak a little bit on both of them and sort of their growth individually and as a unit?
Yeah, I think Addy, and I'll give him glowing praise, I think he's one of the best defenders in the league. I enjoy working with him. He's got great potential of growth because he wants to get better. He's got speed, he's got athleticism, really good physique for a defender. He's good on the ball. He needs to improve probably his heading ability for his height. But he's willing to keep working on that. And alongside him, Andrew Privet, I think they've just been a really good foil for each other. Andrew's really composed on the ball, very rarely gets ruffled. I remember the tackle he made against New York City in the first game when the lad went through. His timing is excellent. Have they had hiccups during the season? Yeah, of course they have. But they're going to, and the only way they're going to get better is by having their mistakes and coming through it. And I think they've done that as well. So, really enjoying seeing what they're doing.
Appreciate it. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Luke, last one in the room, and we'll go to the Zoom.
Great. So Brant Bronico put out a piece today. How do you feel about players being outspoken and putting their own stories out there in their own words?
What was his piece?
It was in the Players Tribune. about Charlotte and his story.
Yeah, he's honored as a community impact.
Okay.
So honor from the MLS on the work he's doing in the local community.
Yeah, no, brilliant. I know he's got a couple of B&Bs as well, I think. Airbnbs that might go and stop in on Lake Norman. So, no, but he's doing... Listen, I think our community report came out this week, which I've looked at as well, and it just shows the incredible work that we're doing as a football club. But our players are heavily involved in as well and want to do that. And I think if we can continue that, then we'll blossom as a club in the community.
Great, thank you.
Cheers.
All right, got a couple on the Zoom. I see Sam Spencer first. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Coach. Congrats on the win this past weekend.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, so going back to the Enzo question, we're coming up on the summer transfer window now. So this is going to be a big transfer window for the club. And who are you looking for with the knowledge that, these decisions are obviously, outside of your hands in some way, but you have a lot of influence, and what are you going to be looking for in the number 9 slot and in other slots going forward should Enzo Copetti move on?
Just to answer the first part of your question, Sam, he hasn't gone anywhere yet. So at the moment, there's not an awful lot to say on that. But the fact that our recruitment departments are working all the time on getting possible players who will be available. Likewise, I sit in meetings weekly with the recruitment and Zoran and Bobby, and in terms of plotting how our roster could look in not just 3 months but in 3 years. I think that's really important, that you're always forward planning in terms of what it can look like. So that's just going to be a continuation, and we're all involved in that process, and it's working well so far.
And then, coming up, you have a long stretch of matches, and you've said before that you sort of like more of the English Football League style where you're playing, 2 a weeks. How does that change your approach tactically, knowing that, you have to account for things like rest and fitness a lot more over the coming months?
I think I'm going to have to lean on my coaching staff, and the staff here who've been through, what it's like to go and play 3-game weeks here in the US, in the MLS. Is it going to be different from the UK? I don't know. The fact that we'll be flying in at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning is going to be different to buzzing in, but let's wait and see. But I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be different from what we've had. We've not really had the midweek games so far, so I've been told also it will be different, in the summer when the heat is on us as well as the travelling. But as I say, I'm looking forward to experience it and learn from it. But I'll certainly be learning on my coaching staff and my staff in general.
And then finally, you're facing someone you know well from the Premier League, Sam Surridge, coming off of a Team of the Week performance this past week. What can Charlotte's back line do to keep him and other folks like Hani Mukhtar neutralized?
Well, we can certainly defend a cross better than we did at their place. When he scored a header, and it was a good header. He's a good player. I know that, having seen him over in the UK, but I think we're an improved back four since then as well.
Great. He also has a great first name, but thank you, Coach, and I wish you the best of luck this week.
No, he's more of a Samuel. You're Sam.
Thanks, Sam. I see John Lupo as well, and then we'll circle back in the room before we finish. Go ahead, John Lupo. Perhaps.
Dean, I'm here. Dean, forgive me if this has been asked of you already, but just talk about Kerwin Vargas' due contract, how happy you are for him, and how much he means to the club.
I'm really pleased for Kerwin. I mean, it's probably unknown, but Kerwin's family have been waiting on a green card. So, his wife and children have been in Colombia for the last 7 or 8 weeks, which is been frustrating, but he's not let that affect his football and the way he's trained. He's a really good personality. He wants to improve. He wants to do as well as he can for his family first and foremost, and then the club. And we're really happy to have somebody of his talent and his age who's got so much growth. So really pleased that we got that signing through.
Thanks, John.
Are they still in Colombia? His family?
No, they're back. They're here.
back.
They're here now. Yeah, they're all here.
And also want to follow up on Abada. Given what you've seen, I don't know, from the MRI and practice, do you have any idea how long he might be out?
I'd probably be hoping he'll be back for Red Bull. Yeah.
All right, everyone good? All right, we'll wrap it there. Thanks, everyone.